Most people today are gripped with a sense of fear. They fear for the future as to what lies ahead of them. They often feel vulnerable because of this, but sometimes this fear would result in a drive and the motivation to make them produce something extraordinary in their lifetime. Perhaps something similar to what I'm trying to achieve. My name is Usama Ali, I'm 25 years old, and this is my transformation story. Born in 1994 in a small town in Pakistan called Sheikhupura, I was a healthy baby who won two baby contests around that time. My family, especially my mother, took great care of me as I grew up. My life seemed to be flowing quite normally until one day during the fall of 2003, my doctor told my parents that their son is suffering from type 1 diabetes. This diagnosis came fairly late to me since I was quite obviously suffering from it for quite some time. My symptoms, such as gradual weight loss, frequent urination, and dehydration, went ignored for almost a year until they became very pronounced, and my mom took me to the hospital to get me checked. My family's inability to identify these symptoms early on is justified by the fact that no one in my family had diabetes. At the time of my diagnosis, I was extremely skinny and was immediately hospitalized. I stayed in the hospital for a few weeks where I learned new ways of managing my diabetes, all while being only 9 years old. Fast forward to 2012, I was in my first year of my A-levels program, which is the grade 12 in the American system, where I met with something that blazed a fire in me. It was my local school gym. My gym instructor, Sir Nadeem Bhatti, taught me the basics and helped me to build a good educational foundation on how to exercise at the gym. I would say that I got addicted to the gym from the get-go. Improvements started appearing on almost a bi-weekly basis, and I felt like a superhero in my own world. But this high wasn't going to last long since I lacked attention in one critical component of this lifestyle, which was the diet. Because of this, I started hitting mild plateaus in the first 12 months of working out. Furthermore, as I was approaching my final board exams in 2014, I gave up bodybuilding solely to produce good results in my exams while simultaneously applying for universities. My family also had a long-time plan made to immigrate to Canada, mainly for the reason of finding better healthcare for their son and good career options for their children. So in the light of this plan, I proceeded to come to Canada by myself in July 2014 to start my engineering undergraduate at U of T. I arrived and chose to stay in Toronto. Unfortunately, due to the unavailability of a required study permit, I wasn't able to commence my program that year. Not to mention, I didn't get the preferred program admission that I was hoping to get and was offered an alternate choice from U of T that I dismissed. Now guess what? The following year was a gap year for me. A year where I could do anything without having to worry about schooling, working, or any living expenses since my family helped me from back home. And here I decided to kickstart my bodybuilding journey once again as all the circumstances seemed favorable. My father was the biggest supporter of this decision at that time and offered me all his support to do this. I would recognize this as the actual start of my bodybuilding journey. When I came to Canada, I was happy and excited to set foot in this new country. I thought that the people are nice here, as the Canadian stereotype is, but a bit to my disappointment, I was a little wrong about my perception. You see, I learned a valuable lesson at the very beginning of my life. People would only respect you and want to be around you if they think you're important. And to most people besides your own family, you are not important if you don't have anything of value to offer in today's society. Struck with a few adversities at the start and feeling lonely in this massive country, I chose to work it out. My fire was fueled by a slight rejection from the society that I experienced as an immigrant. I'm pretty sure that if you are an immigrant in a country that you live in, you know exactly what I'm talking about here. So to overcome this issue and perhaps to build some respect, I started working out religiously. The only difference this time compared to my high school time of bodybuilding was that I dedicated most of my night hours to develop my fitness educational foundation further. I was able to understand the value of implementing a good diet and stuck with it without compromise for quite some time. This entire year of my life was dedicated solely to bodybuilding and nothing else. I got extremely addicted. Day or night, I would either be working out or thinking about working out. My results were phenomenal for that year, all due to the beginner gains, I guess. My motivation, I could say, was at its peak. I even shoveled my feet through the thick heaps and piles of snow in the frigid Canadian winter nights to get to the gym, even if the workout was going to be for 30 minutes only. Let's speed things up here a bit and talk about the important phases that I went through to get to my physique today. Weighing around 177-ish pounds, I was super impressed with my fitness results for that year and decided to continue it along with my mechanical engineering program at York University in 2015. My goal at that time was to look something like Jay Cutler, but perhaps a little smaller. Little did I know about the dark side of bodybuilding at that time, the steroid epidemic. I was on the beginner gains train and didn't care about anything else but my progress. I kept up with my fitness lifestyle while juggling university along with it. It was tough, and I had several moments where I thought to myself to stop bodybuilding for a while. But I kept going and managed to do good in both for the first year. Around the winter of 2015, I decided to compete in my first competition and experience what this fitness industry is all about. I got my first ever online contest prep coach, Jay Stevens, who coached me to get prepared for the show. Everything was going well for the show except for my diabetes, which started interfering a lot with my diet around the last 2 weeks, and especially on the show day. I experienced severe unexpected hypos, which were to be treated by eating sugary stuff. This was extremely against the dieting rules of any competitor. Anyways, in November 2016, I still went and competed for the experience, and it was awesome. I didn't place in the top 10 due to my conditioning and posing perhaps, but that failure was a lesson learned for me. Coming to 2017, I was trying to recollect my motivation that I lost at the show and accept that my diabetes is something that I cannot change. I started working as a part-time personal trainer at a gym and also started modeling for a YouTube channel called My Bollywood Body. I continued working out again and went on a bulk, but this time I had no intention of competing in the fitness industry anymore. I didn't think it was for me. My gains were slow because I didn't have the beginner gains effect working for me anymore. I was more so an intermediate now, with lots of areas to improve. I kept on working hard, adding mass to my weaker muscles over the next few months, all while keeping my consistency in check, even when my motivation wasn't there. I did make substantial progress in my strength in 2017, since I was focused on that a lot. You see, I have had a normal life filled with events of all kinds. Happy, sad, dramatic, emotional, tense, and some success. There were so many ups and downs that I cannot explain them in this video, but one thing that I can say is that I always sought refuge in the gym during the hardest days of my life. I wasn't addicted to the gym like I was in the beginning, however, working out seemed to flush out all my sorrows and kill all the depression that I ever dealt with. Moreover, seeing the social media brimming with these fitness influencers who were enhanced but claimed natural put me down even more internally. You may ask why? Simple. Because first, I knew I would never do steroids, and even if I achieved a good natural physique, it would fade in the light of the enhanced guy's physique anywhere. People are gullible and they fail to understand that by pushing these fake natural guys in the limelight of attention might produce motivation for them in the short run, but it would have a detrimental psychological impact on the long run, where when they would realize that they can't look half as good as their idols unless they commit to bodybuilding full-time with drugs. So if you are like me, this motivation system works good for you in the beginning, but then against you at the end. Hence, it was flawed in my eyes. I could talk on this topic forever, but I'll just move on for now and focus on the transformation. In 2018 and 2019, I continued with a mildly clean bulk. For a patch of time during this, I lost control of my diet and ate whatever. I had a knee injury along with a shoulder injury that I had to cope with for almost a year. University got difficult to manage, and I also started working on my own YouTube channel, The Titan Force. This lifestyle pretty much consumed all the time that I ever had. At so many times in these 2 years, I felt like I was hitting plateaus due to loads of stress, or maybe because I thought that I reached my natural limit. But I still kept on working out. I never stopped. And I have to admit one thing. My consistency never failed to reward me in my life. I finally saw improvements in my physique yet again. They were not major, but to me they were quite big. I added some nice density overall that made me feel content with my physique for the first time in my life. I may have not been able to truly explain the difficulties of my life that I experienced, but trust me, like everyone else, I had and still have many of them. You can count some more due to the complications that arise with diabetes, but like they say, no excuses. So we're finally nearing the part where I get to show you guys how my physique looks like today. And I did go on a little bit of a cutting phase to lean down my physique so that you can have a proper idea of how my physique looks like. But this physique is gonna get unveiled in this 3-minute transformation video that's gonna show up right now. The whole point of this video is not to make you feel sorry for my hardships, my illness, or to even applaud me on any of my achievements in my life. All this fitness journey that I've walked on so far was done with utmost determination, consistency, and discipline. I did not rely on any short-term objectives such as impressing girls, chasing money or fame, or to even get big on social media to keep me going. I did it merely as a hobby for myself. If there is a catch for you in this video, it would be to believe in yourself and just stay consistent no matter how harsh your life gets. Maybe you don't have many people rooting for you while you're standing on the starting line of the race, but people will surely acknowledge you once you start racing towards that finish line. Here's the final tip before this video ends. Find a solid goal in life and find only one good reason to accomplish it. Just one. That's all you need.